Good morning, this is Jack from Chart.net, and this is the pre-market recording for Monday, the 24th of February. Our disclaimer, it's for educational purposes only. We're here to share technical analysis with you. We hope you can take some of what we're doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. We're not here to issue trading signals. Now, obviously, there's been bad coronavirus news over the weekend, as I've been mentioning. If that got worse, then the markets were likely to start dropping quite a lot, and they've dropped quite a lot overnight. So where does that leave us now? Well, we haven't got much in the way of negative divergence. We've got a little bit, just because we've made new lows just now. We're not looking at live charts here because I want to make sure that nothing would crash. We've got we're now at 32.38 on the S. And we've got a little bit of positive divergence, but it's not a lot. I'm expecting this in all probability to go lower. But we have made the initial targets. We had the initial target at 33.18 and 20, so we've made that in spades. We have a potential support level down here in about the 32.14 area, which is a previous low, and I'll be watching that area if we get that for possible support. NQ, obviously we made the target there too. We have gone lower. Oh, and the other thing to mention, of course, we've just broken the monthly pivot on ES, and if that converts, then obviously we can go quite a bit lower. We've also at the open today, I just want to mention this before I show the SPX charts. We've also broken, of course, the daily middle band. That's in the 33.25 area, so we're now 90 handles below it. If we see a big rally, the obvious target will be a back test of the daily middle band. So I'm watching that with interest. Okay, NQ, we've got a little bit of positive divergence here. It's not a lot, but we're getting close to the monthly pivot at 89.88. I'm assuming we haven't quite reached that yet. No, we haven't. And again, possible support when we get there. Previous low down here in about the 89.27 area. RTY obviously made the target there too, but below the monthly pivot. Might be resistance on a back test. Minimal positive divergence as well. I mean, this is a decent positive divergence. This is a decent positive divergence. At the moment, it's marginal. It's not the high between the two. Hasn't actually got over the 30 area on any of these. So this isn't a high quality positive divergence, but it is a weak positive divergence. So we'll see what that gets us, if anything. YM, sorry, this hasn't opened yet, but obviously I've got a target down here in the 28,300 area. That's probably going to get made at the open, but this is only showing up in RTHS. DAX, we've made the downside target, obviously. Got a previous low down here in the 12.875 area, and watching to see whether we get support there. Well below the monthly pivot, also below the monthly pivot on ESTX, and we've got a previous low at 3606. Again, possible support. We will see how that goes. Now let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. Now, on the daily chart, on the weekly chart, we've got weekly sell signals, which may well fix this week, but obviously we'll have to see where the week finishes. It doesn't matter really where it starts, but obviously we may well fix them this week. The daily RSI 14 sell signal, that target may possibly get made today. Obviously, it depends where the day closes, and will likely make the RSI 5 sell signal targets today as well. Obviously not going to form a head and shoulders here. The next big support level I've got down at that 32.14, and that is a possible head and shoulder neckline, and I'll be watching that area very, very closely. We've also got main rising support quite a bit below that in the 31.10 area. And if we reach that, then I'll be watching that too. I'd be surprised to reach that today, to be honest. I don't think the news is that bad, but we'll have to see how that goes. Daily middle band closed on Friday at 32.23, and if we see a big rally, that would be the obvious target as the back test. NDX, obviously we've got the bigger daily RSI 14 sell signal. Again, will be below the daily middle band by some margin, and Dow the same. Hang on, that's the correct. Got the same sell signal. We didn't have an RSI 5 one there. I am watching the short-term rising support in the 28,500 area, possible support. We've got the bigger neckline. Chances are it's going to go through it if it's anything like the others. I've got a bigger level of 28.2, and I've got main rising support in the 27,700 area. So we will see how those all go. Okay, let's have a look at CL. Now CL has gone with the flag scenario. We've broken down from the flag. Really, the obvious thing to expect is a retest of this low at 49.50 and a possible second low of a double bottom there. I was saying on Chart Chat yesterday that I was noting that at the end of January, we'd broken below the 50-month moving average. And I would note that actually this high was a pretty good test of the 50-month moving average back test as resistant. It's possible this could go lower, although I do like the upside potential on CL here. NG, again, I think it's going with the flag set up here. It's actually holding support here better than expected. I mean, there is more reason, I think, to think that this is going to rally, but there is a very distinct possibility we're going to need to go back and retest this low. We will see. GC has gone higher, as you would expect. No current negative divergence, expecting it to go higher. Question is how much higher. So I don't think we've really got, well, we've obviously got an IHS target in the 1720 area, and we're now getting pretty close to that. Chances are, I think this move, I'm leaning towards it actually making that target, and we'll see how that goes. So we will see. But I think beyond that, I'm still expecting to see a decent retracement soonish. But currently we're actually above some 50 handles above the weekly pivot. If we might possibly see a back test of that, we'll see. Okay, SI, we're still on a 60-minute sell signal. It's reaching this flag target here. I've got a higher one in about the 19.7 area, which needs to be made on the RTH chart. We've made this initial flag target, but the bigger picture flag target remains unmet. HG, I think this is a flag which is breaking down. I could be mistaken about that, but it sure looks like one. And HG, of course, is very based on Chinese demand. Chinese demand, I think the situation in China is an awful lot worse than they're admitting. So I'm very skeptical about China demand here. We will see. All right, ZB. ZB, nice looking rising megaphone here. We might see a pullback. Chances are this move is not done to the upside. Looking at my TNX targets, because I was just showing that before the webinar started. What I've been talking about on chart chat for months. Since the middle of last year, I think. Since we got down to about this area, is the very high probability that we would go and test this 2016 low at 13.36. The low this morning was at 13.77. We're getting into that. We're getting into the right sort of area. I'm thinking we probably need to get up to 169, 168s, maybe 169s to get there. And I'm expecting to see that target made. I'm looking for support there. We'll get an awful lot of big signals brewing, monthly buy signals brewing, which is just the sort of thing I like to see at a big low, possible larger double bottom. May well find support there, but obviously that rather depends on the coronavirus news not getting an awful lot worse. If it does, then equities could really fall out of bed, and bonds could really go to the moon. So we'll be looking for potential support down there when we get there. We're not there yet. DX, possible head and shoulders forming, more because there's head and shoulders forming, possible IHS forming on USD. I'll come to that. USD, possible IHS forming here, finding some support. We will see how that goes. But I think that's not the annual pivot. I think this is the 2019 annual pivot. But anyway, I think possible IHS here may well see a move up from here, waiting to see. USD JPY, the sell signal has made target. We're down at the week pivot, 111.15. Waiting to see what happens here. Possible IHS to form. Rather depends what happens on DX, of course. On USD CAD, we had a likely flag wedge. It's broken up. Should have a minimum target at a retest of this high at 1.3328. On Australian dollar, potential double bottom forming. As long as DX is going to behave and turn down, then as I'm expecting to, but we did get to keep resisting. So as long as that happens, then we will see how that goes. But as long as DX does that, then I'm expecting to go higher on Australian dollar from here. KC, this was a nice 61.8 retracement, and I'm waiting to see whether or not this is going to hold the support. If it does, great. If it doesn't, this looks rather ABC, so we could well see a retest of this low. Demand's hitting everything. I don't know how much coffee demand there is in China. I don't think it's an awful lot, but I mean, but nonetheless, it's everything's been, all the commodities are being hit at the moment. SB has gone down a bit. I've got main support at 14.7, so we will see. CC, I had a nice looking flag channel here, but it's broken down. Main support is monthly pivot 2718, and the possible head and shoulder neckline, which is slightly below in the 2700 area. ZW back below the weekly pivot. I'm still leaning higher on this, so I think this was a flag which is breaking up in all probability, but we will see. Corn, I had a possible setup here, having rolled into May, because all the commodities rolled into May, apart from the meats, which are already in April. But I had a potential setup for support here, and we respected it, and we broke it. So I think we're probably heading lower here. Obviously, corn is very dependent on China demand. I was also looking already at this flag on soy. That's broken down, getting pretty close to the target, likely to make a target. I'm expecting to see a minimum retest this low at 882 and 3/4. We'll see. And lean hogs, I haven't got any prices yet for this morning, but this is very, very dependent on China and demand. That's not looking awesome, and this is a pretty nice bear flag channel. I'm expecting to see a retest of this low, and I'd be pretty surprised if we didn't see one. Okay, great. What have we got for questions, guys? Hang on. Well, I think what we've got to consider here is that we don't actually have all the news yet. I think in terms of where the low will be, it rather depends how bad it gets. If the coronavirus gets as bad as it could get, and we see major outbreaks everywhere, and you got to remember the last one I was talking about with 1918, 1919, I think it killed something like 5% of the world's population. Obviously, that's a lot. We could see in the event that we went on the disaster scenario there, then that could be pretty serious. In terms of more realistic targets, if that isn't going to happen, well, I know where my target is here. I've got two targets here. I've got this rising support in the 3100 area. I think that's an eminently doable target from where we are now. If things fall really out of bed, then we could get down to the 2500 main rising support trend line from the 2011 low. And if things really got out of control, then well, we could break that trend line and go lower. In which case, I'd really be looking probably at the 38.2% retracement at 23.45, or the 50% at 20.25. I'm astonished if we got any lower than that, but I think this could deliver. I mean, we've got weekly sell signals now brewing. They could well fix this week, or on a worsening of the news. At the moment, I'm not seeing any particular reason to think the news won't get worse, but at the moment, all we're seeing is really an attack of honesty. This is what I was writing about in my coronavirus post a couple of weeks ago, because I think it's pretty obvious to anyone who's not subject to pressure by China that the Chinese figures are all garbage. So what I was saying was, now that we had some outbreaks outside China, some more honest numbers. So what we've seen is significant outbreaks in South Korea. We've got a big outbreak in Italy, Japan. These have doubled in the last week. I mean, Italy had 3 cases, I think, a week and a half ago. South Korea, that had 30. This is Sunday before last when I was writing the post. So the question is, what happens in here? Does this spread? If the US ever starts testing anyone, are they going to have any cases? At the moment, they didn't seem to know. But I mean, in some respects, the news isn't that bad. In Singapore, they seem to have it well under control. There haven't been many deaths. I think they've had 1. It's not. So I mean, that's not bad at all. We've had 5 tests in Italy. But I think Singapore are probably a lot better organised than the Italians. And South Koreans are stamping down on this hard. I think we're getting honest numbers out of them. So I mean, we'll see how bad this is going to get. But at the moment, this is just spread a bit, and we're starting to get honest numbers. So we will see. If we're going to get an outbreak, then we're not going to find out from China, where we have no idea how many cases they've got, and I suspect they haven't got any either. So we'll see. But I think elsewhere we're getting honest numbers. I think it may well not turn out to be a serious outbreak. At the moment, we're not seeing the numbers in UK or Germany or Australia suggesting that it's getting out of control or anything. So even Taiwan doesn't seem too bad, and I think their numbers are likely to be pretty good. So I mean, it may well be that we're not going to see a major problem from this. At the moment, we're just seeing alarming news because we're seeing the first news which actually is real. And that is a bit alarming, but it isn't necessarily the whole story by any means. How do I see ES over the next few days? Well, I think the sell signal is going to make targets. I think we may well see. I'm looking for a potential backtest of the daily middle band starting today or tomorrow. We could, but it depends how low we go. I'm looking at, we've got the daily lower band at 32.23. We may well find some support there when we get there. I've got a potential low area in the 32.14 area, and I think we might see a decent rally there to form, and actually that would take us back to the daily middle band potentially. I think we might see a decent rally there to form a right shoulder for another move down. So sell signals here. We should make the RSI 5 sell signal. I'm expecting to make the RSI 14 sell signal target in the next few days. We may make it today. I'm looking at 32.14 as decent support. In the event that we down here, if in the event that we break that hard, then I'm looking for support at 3100, and I've got another potential neckline area around there. I'd be surprised if we got much further than that on this move. I don't think the news deserves it yet. And we do have quite a lot of support between the 30.25 and 3100 area. I'd be surprised. I mean, we could find that we go down and test these areas later. May well do that. But I'm not seeing much of a case for them to go there now. The minimum I'm thinking this move is going to take us to over the next weeks is going to be this level here, this trend line here at 3100. That is an area where we very much might find support, and if the coronavirus news turns out not to be too bad, it could actually start another leg up from. So that is an area I'll be watching with particular interest. If we see a move down from to 32.14, a big rally from there to form a head and shoulders, then obviously that would form a pattern. And that pattern, the target for that pattern would be on a sustained break below 32.14. That could get us down into about the 30.50 area and get us through this trend line. So we'll be watching that with great interest. And we'll see how that goes. But at the moment, it's too early to say because we haven't seen that bounce. And only if we see that bounce would we get that pattern. So, all right, great. Any more questions, guys? We probably need to get started on the market. So, all right. Anyway, usual deal. If we get any decent highs and lows in terms of signals, I'll be calling those. I'll be calling those on the member Twitter feed, and be careful. And I'll catch you on the Twitter feed today. All right. Cheers, guys.